Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy, my husband is Paul, and we welcome you. Today's video, we're going to talk about some old-fashioned ways to reduce spending. Now, everybody's frugal journey is different, and some of these things you may say, nope, I'm not giving them up, or I'm not going to do that, and that is fine. Maybe there's one or two that you may find that may prove to be helpful. So let's get right into this video. The first thing we want to share with you is let's think back to our parents, our grandparents, and what did they do themselves that today people pay for? First thing that comes to my mind is having our nails done. Paying $50, $60 to get a gel manicure or a powder manicure. Another one is buying expensive coffee at gourmet coffee shops and spending upwards of $7 to $10 a cup of coffee. Really expensive gym memberships when possibly you could safely work out at home. Having fast food delivered to your home so that you don't have to cook or go out to pick it up. These are all convenient services that cost big bucks or add up over time. So many times we hear people saying, I don't have any room in my budget. And I tell you all the time, track your spending and see where it's going. There are so many ways to save money if we seriously want to save money and get down and dirty with things that we spend on that may not be essential for our lifestyles. A lot of us are in a no-spend January right now. So that is really kind of purging us of all those non-essential expenses. And then come February, see how you did. If you didn't get a manicure for this whole month, how did you do? Did you do your own nails? I bet they look fantastic. If you didn't have DoorDash deliver or you didn't run through the drive-thru, how's your cooking going? Can you continue on through the month of February? So try to think along those lines for those non-essential spends that our parents and our grandparents didn't have the liberty of splurging on back in the day. Number two, we talk about aprons a lot on this channel, covering up our clothes to keep them clean. But what about changing your clothes when you get home from work before you start cooking? Coming home from church and getting back into more casual clothes so we don't stain our tops, our pants. I remember coming home from school and my mom would always say when I came in from school, put your play clothes on. Well, today play clothes are a little different than they were back then. They could be lounge pants, maybe a sweatsuit, a sweatshirt, t-shirt, short. But the type of clothing we want to wear around the home are things that if we splatter on them or if we splash on them or if we stain them, we are not going to be upset. We're not going to have to go out and buy another expensive piece of clothing. So think back to the day when mom would say, change into your play clothes after school and continue that on. And again, I am going to advocate for the apron. You know I do. It's just a great way to keep your clothes clean and to not have to wash them over and over again. Another one that I want to share with you, and this is exciting for me, is every January I sit down and I write 12 things that I would like to accomplish in the coming year. And it could be something as simple as maybe having a bit of an attitude change or learning a new skill, whatever it is. So I have my list, and one of the things on my list this year is to become more artistic. Now, don't laugh. I literally do not have an artistic bone in my body. My art to me probably is my cooking, but I am talking about art, like drawing and painting and sketching. I have none of that. But I've always admired those who did, and art is so beautiful. It's such a wonderful way to express ourselves. So in this no spend January, I decided this is a great time to work on that skill. Now, I went onto YouTube and I actually found a children's program on how to sketch, draw, and color. I know this is silly, right? But it was important to me. I feel that we are never too old to learn anything. I don't care if you're 21 or you're 91. We can still learn new creative ways to express ourselves. And I was so excited about this. So the other day I sat down, put on my YouTube children's program on how to draw, and I did some sketching. Now, you all know that we keep it real here. I share with you because we know we have loving viewers who would never say anything harsh. So I want to share with you what I did. Now, believe me, these 3 pictures I'm going to show you were my very first attempt. But I am so darn proud of them. I really am. I did what I wanted to do. I did what I love to do. And back in the day, before television, people did this type of stuff constantly. Okay, they didn't have YouTube to learn from, but they were able to be so much more creative. DIY projects, repairs around the home. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you the 3 pictures I drew the other day. I'm keeping it real and I'm keeping it honest. Here you go. So here they are, the little bluebird, the lovebirds, and the robin. Why am I showing you this? I am showing you this to encourage you to just feel good about stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new. I know you're all like, what? The robin had such a big belly and the lovebirds kind of had a crooked tilt to their... I had so much fun doing it. Every time I finished one, I would run up to Paul. He was working up in the music room on a project and I'd be like, look, he's like, that's really good. So I want to encourage you this year, learn something new. I don't care if it's as small as learning to sew a button on a shirt. But teach yourself something new. We are never too old to learn. And that feeling of learning something new is so energizing. It is so fulfilling. And it's just another way that we can express who we really are. Another great old-fashioned tip that we stress here over and over is simple old-fashioned cooking. Using simple whole ingredients. They didn't have processed food back in the day. They didn't have the convenience of opening the freezer and pulling out a frozen pot pie or something like that. They had to create their food from scratch. And Paul and I really cultivate a from scratch cooking concept on this channel. And while you're using those whole foods to cook with, think of inexpensive cuts of meat if you eat meat. One of the most inexpensive cuts we found last week when we went food shopping were chicken legs. I think they were 77 or 79 cents a pound. And I had promised that we were going to share a recipe with those chicken legs and my homemade orange marmalade. So we're going to get into the kitchen right now and share this recipe with you. So let's turn this camera around, get into the kitchen. We are going to be making some marmalade drumsticks with the chicken drumsticks we bought the other day at 79 cents a pound. And with the orange marmalade I made. Take a screenshot if you want so you can refer back to the recipe. This is from a Country Woman magazine, May and June of 1993. We're going to have this recipe. I have 6 drumsticks. I have my orange marmalade. I do not have herb seasoned stuffing. But I do have a box of Chex cereal that we can use. So we're going to take a cup of that Chex. We're going to crush it up and then we're going to season it. And that's going to be our coating. And then we also need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. And this is it. I'm excited to try it. Here's our crushed Chex cereal. I'm going to add some onion powder, We want to flavor this well. Grated peppercorn, a little Italian herb seasoning, but we're just using what we have and it's going to be amazing. And a little garlic powder. And I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. So we just mix this all up. My refrigerator marmalade, which if you missed this recipe, I will link it at the end of this video, is thick. So what I'm doing is I'm going to measure out just about 1/3 of a cup. And I am just going to heat this gently on the stove so it's just a little bit thinner so I can spread it over the chicken. So what I did was I just added a drop of water to this because it was still thick after heating it. Now that's much better. Literally, I added, I think, a teaspoon. That's it. But now it will be easier to coat the chicken with. Now I'm just taking a little of that thinned out orange marmalade and spreading it all over the chicken leg. I let it cool slightly. You want to be able to handle it. You don't want to get burned from it because that sugar gets hot. And then I am just going to roll it in our seasoned Chex Mix. I know, unconventional, a little weird, a little wacky, but it might be wonderful. Now this is a greased 9x13 pan. Make sure you get it all over. Okay, I'm going to put this one this way. And I'm just going to continue on with the rest of them. And now I am just taking that 1/4 stick of butter and I melted it and I'm drizzling it all over this chicken. We're using what we have. We're being creative in the kitchen like I tell you all the time. Use what you have. Substitute ingredients. This is a perfect example. If you don't have orange marmalade, try it with peach or apricot. So now we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 40 minutes. We want the internal temperature to be at least 165. So these cooked about 45 minutes, and I just checked the internal temperature of the thickest one, and it was way over 165 degrees. They look and smell amazing. We'll give it a taste, and we will let you know.
Here we go. We're going to try chicken Chex Mix homemade orange marmalade chicken. This is going to be fantastic.
Oh, that's crispy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep. Chicken is moist. The crunch is fantastic from the Chex Mix. Reminds me of that shake and bake when I was a kid. We used to get that shake and bake for the chicken. Marmalade is just bright and flavorful. It's delicious. It came out great. I'm going to give this a Paul approved for taste, Paul approved for ease of making, Paul approved for creativity. But I'm going to suggest don't use the skin. The skin stayed moist, probably from the marmalade, and that caused it to become kind of rubbery maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of chicken skin anyway, so try it with skinless pieces of chicken. So this is definitely Paul approved for taste and flavor. Yeah, this is a good meal.
What a fun, delicious recipe. We're learning to be creative. We're learning to switch out ingredients when we don't have them. Back in the day, they did not jump in their car and run and get stuffing mix. No, they would have used breadcrumbs. They would have used cornflakes, whatever they had. Well, we had Chex and that's what we used. It was so good. And I will agree with Paul. The skin of the chicken leg, I should have removed, and I think it would have been even better. What happened is I think the marmalade kept the skin a little moist. The outside coating was super crunchy and delicious, as you heard when Paul bit into it. And the chicken was out of this world. Like I had said, I'm not a huge fan of drumsticks, but I ate 2. They were really, really good. So give this one a try. You can try it with the skin, without, economical, delicious, and just a simple, basic recipe. And I think that's what we need to get back to today. Grab onto those wonderful, wonderful ways that saved our ancestors so much money and bring them back to life today. Yes, still keep the wonderful progress we have and all the wonderful electronics that we can access, information, but there is some truth and simplicity in the basics of life as well. So we thank you so much for sharing this time with us. Our question of the day: what is something you would like to learn this year? Take a minute, think about it, and leave it down in the comments section below. Hey, listen, I was completely honest with you all. I showed you my silly little bird drawings. What is something you'd like to teach yourself or learn? Please share it with us. It won't only encourage us, but it'll encourage our viewers as well. Again, we thank you for sharing this time with us. Please give this a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Come on in and be part of our family. We'd love to have you. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you.